That was the last order of business on the day that we went on recess. Now we've been back from recess, this is the second week. What we have noted is this, that members have primarily three roles that are in the Constitution. We have the work of legislation, which is what we do in the House. We have the work of oversight. We have the work of representation. And that means that sometimes members of Parliament are not in the chambers. Now, yesterday, we received an order paper that was, of course, indicating the order of business for today, both in the morning and in the afternoon. But it has come as a very strange surprise that in the afternoon, a supplementary order paper has been presented in the chamber without notice to members that was actually introducing back the sale of Kenya Pipeline Company. So we find that totally unacceptable, because there's got to be notice. Before an order paper is presented, members should be aware, so that members who have an interest, and when they know that it touches on their constituents, would be in the House. So this has been brought in when members are not in the House, when members are not aware. It has just been sneaked in because we think there's something sinister going on. Secondly, this motion was not debated for the 2.5 hours that is supposed to be debated. For the usual shenanigans in the House have taken place, where a member rises and says that, on order 95, call the mover to reply. A matter as grave as the sale of a critical government installation like the pipeline cannot be debated in 5-10 minutes. And it cannot also be debated by members of the regime and the broad-based government. So we take exception, and we are advising here that we are rejecting the outcome even of that vote, and we are going to go to court as a loyal opposition, the loyal opposition and the united opposition, to make sure that Kenyans' assets are protected. What protects Kenyans if this pipeline is sold from them being subjected to the profiteering of investors, where the cost of fuel can go up, and it is a fuel that drives the economy. So basically, we are opposed to what has happened. We are opposed to the procedure that has been followed, and we believe that this will be thrown out in court. I have my colleagues here who I would like to to invite, so that they can be able to maybe deal with the actual details of what is contained in that motion that has been passed unceremoniously.
There are some shadowy figures that have been included that in case Kenya Pipeline is sold, they will be the first to be paid. Billions of shillings. We have lawyers who we do not know who they are. We don't know the cases that they participated in. There are people who are listed that in case it's privatized, they should be paid huge amounts of money, billions of shillings. And I think other than that, the fact that you are giving someone leeway to control the price of fuel, that if they decide to increase the price of fuel, we will be the ones who will suffer. Two, we've had cases when we know, if you look at Kenya Railways, the privatization of Kenya Railways, we've had cases where they come in, strip assets, they sell, and they leave a shell. This is the only pipeline we have as a country, and I think it's paramount that if it's to be privatized, Kenyan people must be involved, public participation must be done, and everyone must give their input. Secondly, we cannot sit in parliament and we are not even given a chance to contribute, because those of us who are there, we were not given a chance, we were not accorded a chance, so that we could air our views and say whether we support or reject. And I think there are very many people who would have been willing to respond to this matter, because it's a matter of national importance. So like my colleague is saying, it's not something that will take sitting down, it's something that needs to go to court. We need arbitration by the judiciary so that they can clarify and decide whether the procedure is correct and whether the sale of Kenya Pipeline was that important, that it had to be discussed even before we discuss the privatization bill. If you look at your TV right now, they are discussing the privatization bill right now, and it should have been the reverse. We start with the privatization bill, we agree on the bill, and then we go to specific companies that need to be privatized. So we will condemn the act. We must call out the House leadership for not giving members who represent the public an equal opportunity to make their contributions regarding the bill. Thank you.
Asante. Sasa kwanza, kama wale ambao ni wawakilishi wa watu, ni vizuri kujulisha Wakenya ni nini ndio tunapinga kwa privatization. Ya kwanza kabisa, na niseme kwamba mbunge wa Kikuyu hawezi kuzungumzia wabunge wenzake. Of course you cannot discuss a member without a substantive motion, so I will ignore Ichung'wa, masomo yake ni ya kiasi ya chini kidogo. Lakini ya muhimu zaidi Kenya Pipeline inauzwa na tayari bunge imepitisha kuuzwa. Nani alihusishwa? Wananchi walihusishwa. Kaunti ya Kajiado imepitia kilomita mingi sana za Kenya Pipeline, Makueni. Wenyeji wa sehemu hizo, kwa sababu walikuwa wamepeana ardhi kwa serikali miaka hiyo, wamehusishwa kwa mambo ya Kenya Pipeline kupeanwa. Namba 2, kwa ripoti ambayo kamati imepeana, wamesema bilioni 5.7 zilipwe kwa mawakili, na iko kwenye report ambayo iko kwa order paper ya leo, 5.7 billion. Hii ni pesa inatosha kushughulikia mambo ya SHA. Hii pesa italipwa watu na haijafanywa verification ijulikane nani anaenda kulipwa. Motion ambayo imepitishwa inapatia serikali nguvu. Kwa nini mnaleta motion ya aina hiyo na kuna privatization bill ambayo iko kwa bunge? Si bill ingepitishwa ndio baadaye sasa muanze kuuza kulingana na kanuni na sheria zile zimewekwa. Ni vizuri pia niseme imepropose mambo kadhaa, lakini ya muhimu zaidi ni kusema bei ya mafuta leo ikiongezeka, ambaye tunaamini itaongezeka, sasa ni mtu binafsi ndiye atakuwa kitawala mambo ya Kenya Pipeline. Hii ni ukora wa hali ya juu, ni mipango na mikakati ambaye William Ruto analeta, ambaye ni ya kustaajabisha sana, kwa sababu hii kampuni imekuwa kampuni ya Wakenya na sio kampuni ya mtu binafsi. Ukienda kuamua kwamba iuzwe, lazima wenyewe waulizwe kutoka sehemu tofauti, na niseme kwamba wamekiuka sheria, na pia wameleta order paper masaa ya saa 9 asubuhi. Ile ilikuwa imewekwa ni tofauti na ile imeletwa saa 8, na inasemekana kwa order paper lazima masaa 24 ikuwe published ili mtu ajue ni swala gani linakuja kwa bunge wakati ambayo unakuja. Nikimalizia niseme hivi, mpango huu tutaupinga kwa njia zote. Tunaomba Wakenya wote ambaye wanajali nchi hii tuende kotini, tusimamishe mambo ya kuuza kampuni ya Kenya Pipeline, kwa sababu kampuni hiyo ikiuzwa, gharama ya mambo ya mafuta kwa Jamhuri ya Kenya itaenda kwa kuamuliwa na mtu binafsi, na sasa hiyo haitakuwa inaamuliwa na serikali kama vile imekuwa hapo awali. Asante sana.
Next one is, ladies and gentlemen, the bill I'm holding is called the Privatization Bill 2025. If you look at this bill, it talks about one of the key elements of this bill is the principle of transparency and accountability. How to ensure that the whole process is transparent and accountable. Look at the way that things have been done. You privatize Kenya Pipeline, and then immediately you bring to the House the privatization bill. That is a serious omission. Practically, we should have done with the privatization bill so that we ensure that we have the right legal framework before we do the privatization. The second point is, how much money are we expecting to get from the privatization of Kenya Pipeline? It is 100 billion. That's what they are trying to, by selling that strategic intervention, strategic investment in this country, you will only raise 100 billion. Now, if you look at our budget deficit this financial year, because they have factored this into the budget, it is about 870 billion. So you ask yourself, is it worthy really selling such a strategic investment to raise only 100 billion while you are going to borrow 876 billion from Kenyans? It means any right-thinking Kenyan would have said, because this is very strategic for the country, let's get another way of raising this money. And that's what we are saying, ladies and gentlemen, and Kenyans, that this process is not good for the country. So what is the way forward? The way forward is, as united opposition, we'll go to court, because Parliament has been compromised. Way out is now for the courts to determine. Second issue is, Kenyans out there who are not in Parliament, you also have your own time, your own opportunity to also go and block this process in the courts. So I would want to encourage Kenyans all over the country, even as we take up this matter as united opposition, that they support us and go to court independently to make sure that this process is blocked, because this process is not for public interest. It is for personal interest. And this country cannot be managed through personal interest. I would want just to stop there and say, that's what we wanted to say, and we will be fully behind this process of ensuring that we don't get this process through as it has been done in the House. Thank you.
My colleagues have addressed the issues that are at hand. And Ruto was the other day on media all over saying that members of parliament are being bribed. I want to ask him, has he bribed them today? Because how do you give us an order in the morning? Since yesterday, we know what we are discussing, and then you sneak in something. It's so pathetic that this government has been captured by the executive, and they are working for Ruto. They are not working for the people who have elected them. It's so sad. And then when we want to debate, you sit there, you put your card, you raise your hands, because even a chance to speak is so skewed. Because of course, the speaker today is in the broad-based. If it is not him, it is Wetangula himself. All of them, they are that side, so we don't expect any justice to be done to Kenyans in this house, because it's actually captured by the executive.
I was in the House, and I want to confirm to the public, the only members who were allowed to speak about this bill, which took a record time of less than 28 minutes, were members from the broad-based government. So the broad-based government has now spilled to oil-based, which it is too sad. And I want to ask Kenyans to be serious about this. What is the value of Kenya Pipeline? What are the assets of Kenya Pipeline? That is the first question, fundamental, we need to ask. They are giving out this strategic investment for only 100 billion shillings. If you look keenly, the amount of money which was invested about 6-7 years ago when we were putting up the new railway, the new line from Mombasa to Nairobi, was colossal amount of money, which is more than the 100 billion shillings. If you go to Kenya Pipeline in Mombasa and value the pumps and the sensors and the ultra wave detection system which was installed to make sure that we don't have spillover of oil along the line, and to deal with the suspected thuggery of oil within the line, it's serious amount of investment. And I think the worst part of it is that the first charge will be lawsuits amounting to 5.7 billion shillings. Who will be paid for these lawsuits? What cases did Kenya Pipeline engage to pay lawyers 5.7 billion Kenya shillings? Compensation of workers, Kenyans, claims worth more than 3.8 billion shillings. At the same time, if you follow up very clearly, just the other day, the court awarded the resident of Makueni County, whereby we had a spillover of oil some times back, about also 3.5 billion shillings because of the disaster which has happened in that county. I want to say this. Dr. William Ruto is running away from liabilities because the law is very clear. If he sells Kenya Pipeline, he'll sell Kenya Pipeline with assets and liabilities. So he wants to pass over the liabilities being claimed to the investors. We want to tell anybody who has extra coin, please spare your extra coin to invest in a better deal than Kenya Pipeline. Kenya Pipeline is no longer Kenya Pipeline from now. It's Kenya Blood Pipeline for Kenyans. And it is very sad when such strategic investments takes place without involving Kenyans. Kenyans, you need to ask yourselves, we have the Gulf countries which produce oil
Those companies are run by the Gulf states. Not even a single share goes to individuals. No wonder General Kaguta Museveni refused to partner up with us to extend the pipeline to Uganda, because of this mischievous approach of issues by people in power. And I want to be categorical here. We are getting into the state whereby you wake up in the morning, you want to go to work, and the petrol stations are dry, and you can't question because it's a private entity which is not government controlled. You want to wake up as Kenyans in future, and the price of fuel will be doubled, and there is very little we'll be able to do as Kenyans. You'll wake up one morning and we are being told we cannot even go around the country because we don't have fuel. Oil in this country is the biggest catalyst of our Kenyan economy, our Kenyan living, our Kenyan movement, our Kenyan reality. And you want to hand over that strategic reserve to individuals, one, who we don't know, two, who we believe they are not Kenyans, three, even if they are Kenyans, they will not be living with you here, four, they are looters. So it is highly time Kenyans will wake up and tell this broad-based government they are just becoming broad for nothing. Their time is up, and Kenyans, we must deal with them come 2027 squarely. Thank you.
Order paper for today was published and distributed to members yesterday. It is there. It is online. So if you go to Bunge Info, you will get it there. You Google, you will find it there. The order paper does not have the sale of Kenya pipeline. The sale of Kenya pipeline has been sneaked in today at 3 p.m., about 30 minutes after members were already in the chamber. And you see, members, when they come to the house, they look at the order paper so that they can see what is coming in for debate. And then they will deal with those issues that are of concern to their constituents or maybe the committee they are in. And also, things that are critical, like the sale of Kenya pipeline, would have actually had almost full house. But it was sneaked in the afternoon. And that is why we are complaining.
So you are saying as a House Business?
I am a member of the House Business Committee. The order paper that is online is the one that was passed by House Business Committee. This one has been sneaked in. In fact, maybe I can show you to confirm. It is a supplementary order paper. Supplementary, meaning that there is a change from the original order paper. But the change that is in this order paper is basically primarily to bring in the sale of Kenya Pipeline Company.
And you can give them this one to compare.
So you can compare this with the one that was in online and printed from yesterday. Did not. We did not. In fact, I can say that we have never ever sought to approve supplementary order papers. These come in last minute. But normally, I'll say this, normally the supplementary order papers are supposed to address maybe orderly conduct of business. But a substantive motion like the sale of Kenya Pipeline cannot come in and be sneaked in the afternoon. It's a weighty matter that requires the House to be fully, to be fully constituted and members to know that it's coming up for debate. So my concern is that this was, in my opinion, this was sneaked in mischievously when members are not in the House, when many members do not know. And that's why we are suspicious. And let me clarify this. This was the last order of business before we went on recess. And before we went on recess, we closed at 7 p.m. after it had just been moved. We are on the second week. Why would it come in a supplementary order paper and every one of us has been waiting for it? There have been meetings to try and dissuade members from opposing it. And then now when people don't know, it is sneaked in quickly. So I think, I find it mischievous, and I think there's people that, yes. Yes. It was approved even before we went on recess because it had been brought in for debate. It had been brought in for debate before. Let me just put it this way. Yes. Yes, yes.
Did it ever approve
Let me tell you, the order paper as it is, okay, maybe just to clarify, the order paper as it appears online, that is what the House Business approved. Because the House Business approves all the order papers for the whole week. And they appear the same way they appear online. So when we go for the meeting, we have the order paper for Wednesday morning, afternoon, Thursday afternoon, and the Tuesday of the next week. So we have the 4 order papers. So the order paper that was placed for today afternoon is the one that is online, not this supplementary one. So I can say that even for us to plan as a united opposition to be able to be in the House, so we can tackle this matter. They've just mischievously sneaked it in when people don't know. Any other question?